After saving up over 500 chapters of the novel and seeing some of the reactions that people were having to the most recent arc in Shadow Slave, I thought there was no better time to pick the novel up again. And so I continued right where I left off, which was right after the fall of Falcon Scott, somewhere around chapter 1065, when Sunny and Jet are sailing away from central Antarctica. From there, I kept on reading until I reached 1172, and as to why I stopped at this weird chapter, it's because this chapter really felt like a natural stopping point or a checkpoint, as the contents of the chapter include Sunny just sitting over a siege wall as he watches a departing refugee ship that's heading away from Antarctica. As he's doing this, a lot of things are going through Sunny's head as he's been through a hell of a lot of things, and watching these departing refugee ships fills him with this sense of accomplishment that he's actually had a beneficial impact on the world and the people around him. And towards the end of the chapter, Sunny then starts to get this overwhelming sense of foreboding and apprehension for the future and what it holds, as he's sure that whatever is coming next is gonna change the world or impact it in a way that it can never return to the way it was before. And this chapter really just felt like Guilty 3 was just yelling at us readers that all of the chapters prior was build up and escalation for what is to come. So you better buckle up because everything is about to explode. Because the arc so far has just been constant build up and just constant escalation between the clan's valor and song and the government as well. Just constant buildup, and it's kind of like a rubber band that has been just stretched and constantly stretched to its limit, and it's about to either break or shoot off. And for this reason, I decided that this was probably a separating point where I can be like, yeah, this is before everything escalated and went to the dumps, and this is after, where everybody has just lost their minds and started stabbing each other with pencils or pitchforks. So moving on from that, or should I say moving backwards, because it's a little bit strange, but I started talking about the events starting from the end rather than the starting point. But aside from why I ended it at 1172, I want to talk about some other things, such as one of the biggest highlights that have happened in between chapter 1065 and 1172, which was the amazing scene that we got with Sunny just utilizing his shadow abilities and his capabilities to its fullest and maximum potential, and just terrorizing both Song and Valor in the shadows. This scene, or this fight scene, was genuinely one of the best that we've gotten. I hesitate to say in the whole novel, because I'm sure there's a lot of fights or moments where I'm neglecting because I have just forgotten about them due to how long I have put off the novel. But this scene was just so epic because for once in Sunny's life, he is not trapped in the room with his enemies. No, his enemies are trapped in the room with him. Because in this scene, Sunny is basically lore accurate Batman, where he's just taking full advantage of the darkness in order to meticulously dismantle both the Song and Valor clan Awakened in order to put a stop to their plans, or at least the higher up people's plans that potentially could endanger the lives of innocent people, in order to just gain this meager advantage of either morale boost or having the knowledge that you defaced the opponent and made them look like bitches. From Sunny's perspective, what he's doing is obviously justified and a no-brainer, because he's saving the lives of innocent people in exchange for these Song and Valor clan people that might as well just be useless pawns. And while we're on this topic, one side of me does feel bad for the Song and Valor clan Awakened, because they're not really the ones behind all of this mess and chaos. They're just people following orders. But then again, on the other side, you could also argue that it's their silence and their compliance that is enabling all of this mess. But this video is not about the Nuremberg trials or if they're innocent or not. So I'll just move on to other topics at hand. But while we are on this topic though, it was such a unique experience to see Sonny from the enemy's perspective, where he is an actual threat and menace that is meant to be feared rather than someone who's just being tossed around and pushed around by fate and other people around him. Moving on to other stuff that happened in between 1065 and 1172, I really enjoyed what came after Sonny's slaughter as a consequence. When Morgan discovers that their counterattack on the Song clan members who were infiltrating their base went awry and everybody literally just died, she starts to suspect people around her, as this doesn't really seem like something that could happen and a third party might be involved. And because of this, she starts to push away people such as Nephis, Cassie, and Sonny, which allows them to take a vacation for a week or two, if I remember correctly. And during this time, Sonny and the whole cohort go on a trip in the Chained Isles, where they're basically giving Nephis a tour as they're introducing her to all of the islands and the hell that they went through during their trial or their nightmare. And this vacation, I know I said I really liked the prior scene that I mentioned of Sonny just slaughtering the Song and Valor clan, but this vacation was probably my favorite thing to come out of this mini arc between chapters 1065 and 1172, because this vacation really just put a perspective or showed where the characters are in terms of how far they've come and their development. Because while they're talking, they of course talk with each other and converse, but it's very noticeable that the tone and overall feeling within the group has changed, because as Sonny points out, most of their conversation or what they talk about has to do with killing stuff, or how they can kill stuff more efficiently, how they could avoid being killed, and anything that relates to killing. And he's basically just like, is this all there is to life? Because when I was a little kid in the slums and looking forward to potentially living life as an affluent person, awakening and gaining all these mythical abilities, I thought I would be free and living a good life. But here I am, just murder, and that's all there is. Adding on to this, Kai is also just wondering himself if he should, not if, but maybe what clan that he should join or pledge his allegiance to if he wants to ascend to being a saint, because of course he can't become a saint unless he pledges himself to a power, and it's become very clear that the government doesn't have the power to protect him, and so he might have to pledge his alliance to a clan. I love this because there is a very loud silence, or at least a very awkward aura in the initial beginning of the vacation, just because of the trauma and the innumerable experiences that these people have gone through. And it would be very unrealistic if Sonny has literally gone through hundreds of nightmares and where he's being put into iron giants with molten cores, and Kai has literally witnessed the troop under him be sacrificed to a dragon while also experiencing third or worst degree burns from a literal dragon. I can go on and on, but needless to say, all of these people in the cohort have went through innumerable trauma, and it would be very unrealistic to just have them all be happy-go-lucky. And for that reason, this vacation and the interaction between the group was probably, no, in fact, it was my favorite thing that has come from this arc so far. Moving on from the dread and all of the trauma that the group has gone through, I really loved the fact that the group couldn't play any games like Murder Mystery or Mafia because of all of their abilities, such as Sonny being able to use his shadows to cheat and see what cards people had, as well as Kai, who has the ability to literally tell lies or tell if people are lying, and Cassie, who's also able to just see through people's vision. So yeah, Sonny and his friends, it's canon that they can't play Among Us. Something that I did find interesting that came as a result of this was the fact that when they changed what type of games they were playing, where they're trying to compete for who's the best at cheating, since they can't really play any other type of game, the person who performed the worst was Nephis, which makes me question, like, is Nephis actually that bad at being manipulative or lying? Because this makes me think back that I've never actually seen Nephis, or at least I don't think I've seen Nephis be manipulative. She's usually very blunt with her words and very honest when she's talking to people like Sunny and her friends. Other than just manipulating the Valor clan, which I'm pretty sure even Valor is aware that she's taking advantage of them or using them, I don't think I've ever seen Nephis go out of her way to take advantage of Sunny or manipulate Sunny. It's always been something that Sunny has done of his own volition, whether it be helping Nephis to take out Gunaleg, or however you pronounce his name. It's always been Sunny helping out Nephis because his interest aligns with that of hers, rather than Nephis taking advantage or manipulating and gaslighting Sunny. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments if I'm overlooking things, since it's very, very likely, and more than likely actually, because I have a tendency to forget a lot of things, and it's been a minute since I've read Shadow Slave. But yeah, this moment just really makes me wonder if Nephis is actually very bad at lying and manipulating others, or if she's just pretending to be bad at this to make others put down their guards around her. I would usually end the discussion here, but so much things happened during the span of 1065 to 1172, such as Sunny's shadow getting a new power-up by eating the Iron Giant, as well as the lore dump that we got from the Mirror of Truth, where we get to glimpse in on a conversation between Weaver and Ariel. We find out that the Tomb of Ariel isn't the Tomb of Ariel in terms of where Ariel is buried, but rather a tomb that Ariel built in order to bury the truths that he couldn't bear. It's so interesting, the parallels between Weaver, Ariel, Sunny, and Kai, because it's very clear that Sunny and his cohort are parallels or incarnations of the past deities or demons. There is just so much being set up. I even forgot to mention Mordred or Mordrat, him just messing up this stable family and completely eviscerating Valor's plans of gaining a gigantic advantage against the Song clan by claiming a citadel that would provide a very clear path to the pyramid. Additionally, I also forgot to mention the conversation between Sunny and Cassie on their way back from the gigantic raid that happened against the Titans, with both Song and Valor teaming up and killing these abominations. I can't believe that something as small as Sunny and Cassie just having a conversation just makes so much people mad when Sunny himself doesn't hold a grudge against her. Putting it nicely, it's good that you guys can empathize with Sunny and feel his pain and the betrayal that he went through at Cassie's hand, but please let go of this hatred, or at least quell it down, because if Sunny himself has tried to move on from the past and has mostly kind of not really forgiven Cassie, but maybe kind of stopped holding it against her, you guys should be able to do the same as well, because all of this hatred, I feel like it might blind you from taking away or seeing the full picture of the novel and experiencing the novel for what it is, because it's genuinely a good novel, and all of this hatred might blind you to that fact. Sorry for going off topic and just rambling on about that, but overall, 1065 to 1172, there is just so much to unpack here that I'm very excited to see the outcome of this. And because of just how much content there is, I'm not even confident myself that I covered half of what is here to unpack. So I look forward to what you guys might say in the comments. And thank you so much for watching all the way through, and I hope I see you guys in the next video as well.